and welcome to episode 17 of Winning the Moment. Today, we truly have a special guest. He was just passing through Southern Utah, and I happened to catch him on Instagram, and he was nice enough to come in and sit down with me for an hour. His name is Clint Riggin, and he is an incredible fitness coach with Relentless Coaching. And I can't wait for him to share his story with him and his buddy Eddie and the 60, maybe 90-day journey they're on. This is day 22, and you're going to love to hear what they've been up to. Thank you so much, and enjoy the episode. So anyways, to finish that story, so then it was like, okay, so now I figured out like this thing works, you know? Mm-hmm. And then I was doing more research and I realized there's an actual thing called the winner effect. Mm-hmm. And that is the chemistry in your brain. When you win, it changes. And so you start to believe in yourself more and you start to think you're more capable because of this momentum. So it's like, okay, now I don't want to overdo it and say like it's all about winning, it's all about being perfect. It's really about progress. Right. And the thing is, everyone defines a win for them. Mm-hmm. So it's like if you're depressed, you can't get out of bed, and this morning you got out of bed at 10 o'clock, then that's a win for you. Yep. Or if you're getting a 44-ounce soda at the gas station every day, and today you get a 20-ounce soda, that's a win. Like I want everyone to define their own wins for them and not let society define it for them, because I think a lot of people feel like losers because they're losing to what they think they're supposed to do.
They're comparing.
So then they don't even progress for themselves because what society's win is so far from where they are that they just don't do it because they can't see how they could ever get to here. Instead of looking right here, they should just be looking right here.
That's incredible.
So that's the idea. So that's the premise of the book. So in the book, I don't give any like how-tos or this is what you should do. It's really about like, here's why you should do this. Do it in whatever way you want. Here's some tools that'll help you. So this podcast, Winning the Moment, is about finding successful people, having them share their story. And then book 2 will be, okay, so now you know why it's important to win. Right. Now here's how these different people won. Because everyone's different. Here's the routines they had. Here's the mentors they had. Here's the books they liked. Here's how they define success. Right. And then choose for you what fits.
Got it.
So that's the premise.
You want me to talk about from the start to where I had limitless coaching, then fell down, brought back up again, like everything?
Yep, I think that'd be great. So we'll start with your backstory.
Perfect.
Tell that story. I'll pop in with questions when I need them.
Awesome.
Anything that you specifically want to talk about that you're like, I'm here trying to share this message.
Mental health. It's going to be one of the biggest things.
Okay.
Mindset's going to be huge because I had everything. You know, I had a great company. My fitness was exactly where it needed to be. I was in the best shape of my life, and then I lost everything.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
Middle, like just like that.
Losing everything. That's happened to me a couple of times. Those are what make the stories worth reading.
Exactly.
Okay, so mental health, mindset, and then your Instagram is Clint_Riggin. Mm-hmm. And then anywhere else you want people to be driven to?
And then you can do, because I'm going to talk about Eddie in this podcast as well. So
and what's
Eddie
his?
Gomez 10.
So EDY?
Yep. GOMEZ 10.
Gomez, GOMEZ 10.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, website or anything?
Relentless.coach.
Okay, well, I'm ready. You ready?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Welcome back to another episode of Winning the Moment, wherever you are and however you are listening. Today is going to be fun because we're on a journey together. I actually don't know my guest today. His name is Clint Riggin, and we just connected on Instagram, and 4 days later, here we are sitting across the table from each other.
This is actually incredible. Honestly, I didn't even know who you were. You sent me a DM.
Yeah.
Actually, you made a comment.
Yeah.
And you said, I'd love to have you on the podcast.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy doesn't even know me. Like, what is this about?
Yeah, so what's funny is you had Trevor, Real Business Owners, had posted a picture of you on his thing, and I was like, oh, I don't know who that guy is. Let me look at it. Right. And then the day you'd been at the gym with him and Eric Gubler and a couple other people, and I was like, okay, well, anyone who's with those people is going to be interesting. Mm-hmm. So I want to talk to this person. So then I was curious if maybe you had moved to St. George, because I didn't know who you were. Right. And then that's when you told me, no, you're just down here visiting. And it's like, is there any way I could get you on the podcast? Because I love to interview people in person. Yeah. You can always Zoom someone in or do any of that stuff, but you can't replace sitting across the table and looking someone in the eye. So thanks so much for being flexible with your schedule. And I saw you did Eric's podcast yesterday, and then you're going on Real Business Owners today. Yeah. Those guys are awesome. Trevor and Kale are great.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah.
This is incredible. Yeah.
So let's talk about, for the audience and for me, let's just hear a little bit about your backstory and what got you here.
Yeah, and so in 2018 is when I got out of the military. I was in the Navy for 8 years. So I served in Washington State for 2 years working on F-18s, and then I worked on helicopters for 6 years in Hawaii.
Where in Hawaii were you?
Oahu.
Okay, I used to live in Kauai.
Oh, did you really?
Uh-huh.
Oh, beautiful.
This is probably a real stretch, but do you know who Sonny Robertson is?
No.
Okay, he was a helicopter mechanic too.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
In the Navy?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no, I think he was in the Army, so I guess you guys went across paths.
Yeah. I was actually supposed to go to the Army, so we'll get into this story.
Okay.
So when I was in the Navy, I was a helicopter mechanic,
Okay.
and I wanted to go pilot. But the problem was when I was in there, I had a problem with partying. You know, my dad had an addictive personality because he was a drug and alcohol counselor for 24 years and now an alcoholic for 20 years. And he always told me that you have a genetic disposition.
So wait, so was he was he was an alcoholic and then became a counselor?
And then a counselor,
so he got through it, solved it, and then he was like, I want to go help people do what I did. Okay.
Yeah. And he always told me I have a genetic disposition for an addictive personality of some sort.
Do you believe that?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I didn't believe it at first.
Yeah.
But then once I realized that alcohol wasn't my drug of choice, it was cocaine.
Okay.
And that's when, things started going south.
Yeah.
So actually I got out of the military with an honorable discharge, thankfully. But
because you were doing the drugs while you were enlisted in the Navy.
And it was not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
It did. But I was very blessed.
Yeah.
But when I got out, I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. I went and worked at a club.
Because was your plan at the time to be like in the Navy for your life until you retired?
Yeah,
like
I wanted to do 20 years.
Okay, so that was
I had 8
your
years
plan.
down. I was going to do 12 more, and we were just going to continue on. But then, life happens. You make the wrong decisions, and then you have to live with them.
Wow.
So then from there, I went to California, and I was
from Florida.
From Hawaii.
Oh, from Hawaii. Okay.
From Hawaii, and then I worked in clubs, which was the wrong place to be for me.
The worst place to be. You're trying to get away from drugs.
I was trying to get away from drugs. I'm surrounded by them. Exactly. And then I got a call from one of my friends. He said, "Hey, man, do you want to do private security for the president?" And I said,
for the president?
For the president. So Trump was doing his rallies at that time. So we had Colorado Security Agency that we would go around and we would fly to all of his different rallies. And then we would be there for 12 hours. We would make sure that the crowd doesn't go crazy and, interrupt his speech. And we go to the next state. And I did that for 8 months.
Wow. I had no idea that you're going to say that you did security for the president. That's pretty wild.
That was insane.
Yeah. Honestly. So was that when he was actually the president or trying to become the president?
Trying to become the president.
Okay. Got it.
So from there, I was like, okay, this is cool, but this is not what I want to do with my life.
Did it pay you well to be in private security?
It did, but I would say it was about $650 a day.
Okay.
Right. But you were working nonstop. You had no time to yourself. And then the problem was I was still partying. So I would go and make that money. I would go back and I would party.
Spend it.
And I would spend it.
Yeah.
Drugs, alcohol. I still didn't know I had a problem.
Were you fit at the time?
Yeah.
Just because you were you could do all the drugs and alcohol, but you'd still hit the gym. So
exactly. Because you can still do everything you want to do, but still hit the gym, but you're still not going to get the gains, but you're not going to lose the gains.
Sure.
Per se.
Yeah.
So when all that happened, I was like, okay, this is great. I met somebody from Oregon. I thought I fell in love with her. She was moving to Florida. I was going to live in Florida with her, moved in with her. That went south. That went completely south.
Had you ever lived in Florida before, or is that what took you there? So where'd you grow up at?
It's Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania, okay.
Yeah, I was there for 14 years.
Okay.
So then when I went to Florida and then everything went south there, I was actually living on my friend's couch when I was like, you know what, I want to start a fitness company.
How old were you when you were living on your friend's couch?
I was 26.
Okay, 26.
Yeah, 26.
Because you had nowhere else to go.
I had nowhere else to go. I just got kicked
And Florida
out of our
wasn't
apartment.
even where you grew up, so you're kind of in a strange place.
I don't even know what to do. I'm in Orlando.
Yeah.
I'm lost. I'm like, I want to start a fitness company. And my friend was in Apex at that time, the mastermind I was telling you about.
Okay, yeah,
And he said, hey man, you should really join this mastermind. I think it's really going to help you. I had $2,500 to my name. That was the initiation cost.
Oh, that's scary.
From there, it was like I was taking a risk.
Yeah.
So I joined. And it was the best possible thing I could do. You surround yourself with like-minded people.
Yeah.
When I joined...
Apex is nationwide.
Apex is nationwide. Yeah. So there's people in all different countries, all different states.
Yeah.
Sure, you know different masterminds and...
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing.
Okay.
So once I joined that, my business started to elevate very fast. But the problem was that I had everything else in line from my fitness to my nutrition to looking good. But my mindset, as you focused on, wasn't there.
Was it still drugs?
No.
You just hadn't solidified your mind.
Drugs.
Okay.
And that's
so you'd gotten clean. Did Apex help you get clean?
Yeah. Apex was like, that was like, the last time I did drugs was when I moved to Tampa. Because I was in Orlando. I was still living on that couch. And then I found a place in Tampa. And then that's when Eddie, who's in the other room, came into my life, which we'll talk about.
Okay.
That was the last night that I did drugs.
Wow. What about alcohol?
And I drink every now and then, but I don't.
Not really a part of your life.
Yeah, it's not a part of my life because it doesn't serve me.
No, it doesn't serve anyone.
No, it doesn't. I didn't like being
It's
hungover.
so interesting how it'll get you, like how you'll be like, end of the day, it's like, oh, I'll just have one. I'll have a drink. And then, one, I always say alcohol math is 1 is 2 and 2 is 4.
Yes.
And then before you know it, then you next morning you feel shitty. And if you lose the night, you can never win the morning. Exactly. And you just get yourself this perpetual, because then that night you want to drink again because it's like, well, today sucked and I feel shitty. So it's like, that's going to make me feel better.
Exactly.
And you just
how do you cure a hangover? You drink more.
Exactly. You just get stuck in it. It's a vicious cycle.
It was at that point where I was telling myself, it's just, I can't keep doing that.
Yeah.
And I can't keep living, especially as an online fitness coach. You cannot continue to drink and do drugs and then promote.
It would be good for your brand if people knew you're doing having benders in the clubs at night.
Exactly. So everything was going great. Limitless Coaches was taking off. It was truly amazing. And then May of 2022 is when everything shut down. Like I lost a business partner. I stopped talking to my mom. My mindset wasn't where it needed to be. And I can't even tell you what happened. Like it was just, know. I disappeared.
What caused the business to go down and stuff?
Well, I had a business partner that we went our separate ways.
Okay, you separated.
Some differences. And then when that happened, it's like everything, it was like all on me.
Okay.
And I think for some reason, I felt like I failed and I failed my clients and I just disappeared from social media, from everyone.
So you kind of ran away from it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this guy who had everything together, gone. Just like that.
Wow. So how did you work your way back?
Well, that's where Eddie comes in. So I mentored Eddie when, he was just starting out. He was driving Uber. I met him in Tampa. We were at a bar and I was actually doing investments in real estate at that time too.
Okay.
And then he came up to me and said, hey, my mom wants to do some investments. She's from Spain. She wants to do some in America. But then I decided to focus on limitless coaching. So he wanted to be a fitness coach because he used to play professional NBA. And he was like, and then he got injured and he said, I need a purpose. I need something I can do. So he started Relentless Coaching. During that time, he mentored him. I was going up. He was going up. And then when I started to fall, he was still succeeding.
Yeah.
And he's the one who said, hey man, I know that you're not doing that good, but I'm still up here. Let's combine to Relentless Coaching, bring your clients over, and then we'll have one company together. Yeah. And then that's what we did.
And so how long have you guys had that since 2022 then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where's that at now?
Oh, it's doing incredible. And it's one of the reasons we're on this road trip, why we're here.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what brought you guys to Southern Utah?
We did a 60-day road trip.
Okay.
Because honestly, Tampa wasn't serving us. It was like an anchor.
Okay.
We felt like we needed to get out, and it's called the Relentless Pursuit, the journey to greatness.
That's cool.
So we're going around, we're meeting clients, making new relationships.
Yeah.
Like you.
Yeah.
And then just being able to discover ourselves again, honestly. And he's on prep. Thing is, he's on prep for a bodybuilding competition right now while we're on the road.
Oh,
we have a rice cooker and an air fryer. We bring it everywhere we want. We'll go to rest stops. I mean, it doesn't matter.
You can't go to a restaurant because they're not going to have food that's clean for him. Isn't it sad to think like it's to the point now you almost can't trust any food source unless you're doing it yourself?
They all have GMO or like whatever they pump these things with.
It's terrible.
It's horrible. So trying to stay on track while you're on the road is one thing we want to show people that it's possible.
Yeah. Because it's just excuses otherwise, right?
Oh, exactly.
I like to say excuses are lies you tell yourself because that's all you're doing.
Yes.
You're rationalizing a behavior that isn't the behavior that you know your core wants.
Yes.
But then you say, well, I'm on the road, so it's understandable.
Exactly.
I'm going to eat at Jimmy John's.
Exactly.
Instead of cook my rice and air fry some chicken.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so you started in Florida. You're here now. Mm-hmm. Was there a particular person or a thing that brought you guys to St. George?
Well, when we were doing our road trip, we wanted to figure out, okay, who can we go see and who are people that we have connections with?
Yeah.
Who can we elevate ourselves with? One of the biggest things we came here is because we have a client here whose name is Mark Gubler.
And is that Eric's brother or something?
Yes.
Oh, how interesting.
And Mark lost 85 pounds.
Wow.
We met his brother at the program. I believe it was about a year ago. And that's when he said, my brother, he's in a position where... Hold
on. The program. I might actually know what this is now.
Yes, Nick Alfano.
Yeah, and Eric went to it, and it's like you do a bunch of mind work and physical work, and it was like in the woods somewhere.
Yeah, we get dropped off. We get at a hotel. And then they're like, hey, get in this bus. We're going to drive 2 hours to somewhere that you have no idea where you are.
Oh my God.
You're going to get out of the bus. You're going to put on a
thing.
shirt, and then you're going to work out for 2 hours. We're going to break you down. Then we're going to build you back up.
Yeah, I remember Eric talking about it and watching him go to it, like
Yes.
his journey on Instagram.
Yes.
So is that your guys' thing, or that was just something you were a part of?
That was something we were part of. We got invited by Cole Taylor.
Okay.
During that time.
Wow, what a small world.
So when we met Eric, Eddie had a conversation with Eric at that time about his brother.
And did Eric know already you guys were going to be there and that you had helped his brother, or was that a discovery
No,
you guys
it was
had?
discovery.
Wow,
Honestly,
isn't that amazing?
I think it was like a divine appointment because...
Well, of course. I mean, what are
Eddie-
the odds?
Eddie went through something similar that I did when it comes to depression.
Yeah.
And then he had somebody that he reached out to and met. It was a psychologist.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to help you. He just got out of college. He had no money to his name. And he said, I'm going to help you, but you need to pay it forward one day. And he said that day he knew that he was going to pay it forward to him,
Wow.
to his brother.
What an amazing story.
Yes. Yeah. So, and he lost 85 pounds. He looks absolutely amazing. One of the best things about it was his daughter couldn't hug him.
Oh, wow.
Like, put his hands
Yeah,
all the
right,
way
because he's too
around.
big.
We saw his daughter yesterday, and we saw it in person.
Yeah.
Where he said we saw daughter hugged him
Yeah.
all the way around.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
How cool is that? Yeah, because I saw you were on Eric's podcast yesterday.
Yeah. And then also Steve Cook is here with his fitness culture
Yeah.
gym.
Uh-huh.
And he's been our idol since, we started lifting.
Sure.
So we got to meet him.
Yeah, I saw
talk to
that you met
take
him yesterday.
pictures. It was, truly incredible.
So did you ever chance to listen to any of my episodes?
No, I
No.
did not.
So the episode that came out this week with
Yes.
Eli, he is the barber inside of Fitness Culture. So that barber shop that's there.
Yeah, we walked in. I didn't know it was a barbershop.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is my buddy's barber shop, and his episode just came out on Wednesday.
Really?
And really interesting. Yeah. A really interesting, brilliant guy. And then I had made friends with Steve's business partner, Jake. Did you get to meet Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jake's amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Pound for pound, the strongest guy in Utah.
I know. That's what my buddy Spencer tells me. He's like, because he's into CrossFit. My friend Spencer, and he's like, Jake is like a legend.
Do you know he ran 36 miles with Trevor?
Oh, he did
And
do that?
Trevor was like, I'm going to go run 36 miles. And Jake said, I'll go run with you. No training at all. Just, I'm going to go run with you the next day.
I believe it's more in the mind than anything else.
Exactly.
Running is such a mental sport because
Yes.
the physics of putting one foot for the other are easy.
Yes.
It's just mentally, can you withstand it? So Trevor actually inspired me. So I announced on my 36th birthday that on my 37th birthday, which is in April, I'm going to run 37 miles. Because
No
I
way.
thought, what a cool thing, you know? Like to have your kids with you and to have something to work towards and to really strive for it. And so I'm going to, my wife's friends have this school bus they converted to a camper. So I'm going to have that follow me. So then people can so instead of getting me a gift, come run a mile with me.
What?
And then you can get on and off, and then I'll bring a videographer, so we'll document the whole thing. 'Cause it's gonna be hard as hell.
That's so
gonna be
awesome.
tough. And then my kids can get off, ride their bike for a mile if they want, get back on. And then I'm gonna try and make the routes to the finish lines at my house.
You should run with Trevor.
I know, yeah. I'm sure Trevor will.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's what a small world. So really, it was Eric that brought you guys out here.
Yes. Yeah.
And then you got to meet Steve.
Yep. Then we got to meet Steve.
And then now after this, you're going on the Real Business Owners podcast with Trevor and
Yes,
Kale.
which is
Their
really
podcast is
incredible.
great. I mean, they've been doing it for so long. They're an inspiration for me for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's so cool.
We're really excited. We had so many opportunities present themselves while we're here.
And you guys went to
Really blessed.
Zion.
Yeah, we went to
What'd you
Zion.
think of that?
We went to the Narrows.
Yeah, I saw that.
We hiked 15 miles. So we went 7.5 miles in, 7.5 miles back. We went to the waterfall, which we thought was going to be cascading over the mountain.
Yeah.
Which was really cascading at about 6 feet tall, but it was still incredible.
Because if it was cascading from up there, then you couldn't be in it because it'd be flash floods. You could die. Yeah. So is that your first time ever in Zion?
First time ever.
Is this your first time ever in Utah?
Yes.
What do you think?
Beautiful.
It's pretty
I
amazing.
could live here for sure.
Oh, it's an incredible
You
place.
walk out the door here, and I mean, it's just mountains everywhere.
Yeah, so I grew up in Wyoming.
Okay.
Moved here before my sophomore year of high school, and so I never really bought into it. Right? I was always like, "This isn't home." Wyoming was home.
Yeah.
So as soon as I graduated high school, I moved to Hawaii. Talked about that. Lived in Kauai.
Yep.
Came back because it's so expensive.
Yep.
Lived here for a bit. Then I moved to Phoenix. Love that. But then when my wife and I were like, all right, let's start a family. Let's go home.
Yeah.
So we came back to St. George again.
Really?
Then my daughter was 6 months old. I was like, I can't do it. I can't make a living here. I've got a kid now. I've got to have more opportunity.
Right.
So started a marketing company in Houston, and then we were there for 3 years. Then when she got pregnant with my son Cash, I was like, okay, I'll go back. Like we can do it. And then I didn't know what I was going to do. I knew I loved helping people. So I was going to start a financial practice. And then I was really fortunate. My buddy who was in hospitality, they needed an office in St. George. I was like, why don't you just let me rent one of your offices from you?
Right.
And I did that. And then we kind of worked together in that capacity. And then he brought me on to be the CFO of his hotel. And that was 8 years ago now. And I've been in hospitality ever since. And getting in hospitality is what made me realize how incredible the state is. Because we go around all these state activities and you go to these Utah Office of Tourism board meetings and they show you all these videos. And it was like, I told my wife, like, oh my gosh, I'd never been to any of the parks outside of Zion at that time. Because that was just in our backyard, you know? And so it really shifted my mindset of like, okay, this really is an incredible place to live. And to raise a family, it's not, I can't think of many places better than this.
Yeah. I mean, you have the outdoors. The only thing is the heat. But I'm sure you get used to that too.
And I like the heat
it's
anyways.
Dry. It's dry heat.
Growing up in Wyoming, in the cold, like the bitter cold, I'll take the heat any day. I'd much rather be hot than cold. So for me, it's...
I agree.
So are you guys, is Florida going to stay your home base or?
So that's the thing too. Like we may relocate.
Yeah.
You know, the thing is like as online fitness coaches being able to travel, we can work from anywhere.
Right.
And since Tampa was really an anchor for us, we weren't really moving forward because I'm pretty sure it was our environment, the people we surrounded ourselves with.
Sure.
We're trying to see where that might be.
Is there anywhere else you've been on your journey that you thought like, man, this place is amazing?
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Truly incredible. Just a very spiritual place.
Yeah.
That's where I was mentioning Coach JC. We went there for a 2-day like VIP mastermind.
That's awesome.
And it's just incredible when you go there. It's the people are amazing. It's like here.
Yeah.
Honestly.
And how far in your journey of 60 days are you guys? What's today?
You know, we might move it to 90.
Okay.
Honestly. But we're at stop number 6.
Okay.
So we're going to Bryce Canyon next.
Awesome.
And then we're going to let's see. Then we got Vegas, then California. We're going up to San Diego, San Jose, Oregon, Washington. We're going all the way around.
And did you guys drive the whole way?
Yeah.
Oh man,
Lexus IS 250.
I was going to ask.
Back, just like it's just packed with stuff.
That's a long time to be away.
Yeah,
man, that's fun though. It's fun to get across the United States and see it. You know,
like, I've never done it before.
Yeah, there's a lot to see, and every area is so different. You know.
Yes.
So, of all the places you've been, you said you like Tulsa. Was there one that stood out to you as your favorite so far?
That's a good question.
Or one
Dallas is really cool too. Dallas is a beautiful
Dallas
place.
is great. That's where my mom lives.
But we still have a lot to go. I don't want to live in California. You know, I was there.
I
was there for a year. I don't think and the taxes are
it's so bad,
crazy.
Well, and just your car will get broken into, and it's just it's why you watch those videos in San Francisco. They like leave all their doors open and stuff now.
Yes, no. So honestly, Tulsa and then here so far
are in the running.
Yeah.
So tell me about your business. So how does that work?
Okay, so Relentless Coaching is an online fitness and nutrition business.
Okay.
We help executives, business owners, athletes, divorced moms. I mean, you name it. We help a multitude of people.
Anyone willing to improve their fitness.
Exactly. Fitness, nutrition, and mindset really too. Because what I learned on my journey and what Eddie learned on this journey, fitness and nutrition is the easy part. Mindset is the hard part.
That's funny because I was just going to say, if I had the choice,
yes,
if I could only work out one thing and have one thing be strong,
yes,
for me, it's my mind.
Yes.
Like I'd much rather be in a wheelchair with a strong mind than have a strong body and not a capacity to think.
Right.
You know, so... And obviously, you would like to have everything holistically be strong. Mm-hmm. But I think that we overlook the importance of exercising our minds. Yeah. You know, like I'm a big avid reader and I always ask people like, oh, what are your favorite books or what are you reading? And so often it's like, oh, I don't have time to read. And it's like, well, that's an excuse.
Yeah, when I stopped reading, I stopped learning,
right?
I stopped progressing.
Absolutely. You know, it's and if you don't like to read, then listen to it, but like put good content in your ears. You know what I mean? Right. Because there's so much that you need to do to keep your mind healthy. Mm-hmm. And like that's the thing that I worry about when I get older is like I don't want my mind to lose its capabilities, you know? Yes. So what kind of things do you guys do to help with mindset coaching?
So when it comes to a big quote that we use is limitation begins where vision ends, right? So a lot of people cannot see where they're going to end up.
Yeah.
And like, you know how you say you focus on those 5 things?
Yeah.
We focus on 5 things.
Okay.
Focus, fitness, family, faith, and your mindset.
Okay.
Because truly without those, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And what we realized is we were giving people programs and we were fitness and nutrition, but they were falling off because they had other things in their life that were so important that they weren't talking about.
Sure.
So when we get on these calls and we actually talk to them, like, how are you doing? Like personally?
Yeah.
Like, are there things in your life that you want to talk about or things that, and then they just open up.
So you guys are also like a little bit of a therapist.
Yes, just not licensed in that regard. But you would, the amount of people that don't want to just work with us because of the fitness part of it, but just to someone to talk to.
Yeah.
Because they have nobody to talk to about some of their problems or things they're going through.
Well, sometimes it's easier to talk to a stranger, right? You're not in their life. You don't know their husband, wife, child, business worker. You know what I mean? Like, so it's easier for them to just speak openly to you. You know, that's funny because I was telling you, Eli was in the, this podcast came out this week and he's a barber. And I said, people, it's like your 60 minutes is a bit of a therapy for people, I believe.
Oh, for sure.
Because it's not often, that's what I found doing podcasts for sure, is it's not often you have a 60-minute conversation with someone without distractions. You know what I mean? Because if we were just buddies at a bar talking and my phone beeped, I would just look at it.
Right.
And you wouldn't even be like, oh, that's rude. It would just be so commonplace for me to mid-conversation disengage from you and look at my device.
A lot of time we're not living in the present.
Oh, that's 100%.
We're always thinking about, so what I learned is depression is you're looking in the past.
Yeah.
And then anxiety is you're looking in the future.
Absolutely.
If we just focus on the present, focus on what we're doing today, you're going to win the day. Just like you said.
Yeah, no, I always say that we spend way too much time living in the past and way too much time fretting about the future when the only thing that's real, the only thing that matters is right now.
Yes.
Because none of else is relevant. It's already happened, can't change it. Hasn't happened yet, don't worry about it. I'll never forget. I was talking to my sister-in-law when she was like dating her now husband. She's like, well, I just don't know what it'll be like in 6 months. And I said, hey, what are you going to have for dinner in 6 months? She goes, I don't know. I said, right, because it doesn't matter. Like you would never think about what you're going to eat 6 months from now because it's irrelevant.
Yes.
Don't worry about what your relationship's going to be like 6 months from now because it's irrelevant. Yes. All that matters is what's your relationship like right now.
Yes.
That's the only thing that's real.
Exactly.
You know, so people it's easier to do that because you can like daydream. Social media makes it easier to do that because then you look at it and then you get into that comparison problem where you're looking at someone like you and you see like, God, this guy's so fit and I want that, but they don't know do they really want that? Do they want your journey? You know, because they may want your Instagram picture.
Right.
But do they want to have to go to the Navy, be discharged, live on a couch? Like, because it took all of that to make you who you are today.
A lot of people don't understand the journey. Like I look at myself now and I'm like, I am in the worst shape I've been since. But some people look at me and be like, dude, you're in great shape.
Yeah.
But they don't understand where I was before.
Sure.
So I have to stop looking at the past. And I need to look at the present and be like, okay, what am I going to do today to focus on me?
Well, and I think that's the important thing that's worth sharing too, is like when people listen to a podcast, they see someone like yourself and they think like, oh, he's just got it figured out. They don't know that internally you're like, oh man, I've got to be better too.
Yes.
You know, so it's like no one has it figured out. No. We're all on this journey and it's ups and downs and there's valleys and there's peaks and you're never going to climb the mountain and just stay there.
Yeah.
And there's always another side. Yes. You know, you may be up there for a while, but at some point something's going to happen. You got to come back down. You got to go back up. And I think I shared this before recording, but the struggles in our life are what make our story worth reading. Mm-hmm. Like if someone made a movie about a person whose life was easy and always went well, it wouldn't be very compelling. Right. You know, you got to have some adversity and see how they overcome that to appreciate it. And it takes time, you know, to develop that mindset of like, okay, I'm here on the journey. And I think that was one of the things that I learned putting my book together is because when I would do things like I ran a one full marathon, I ran a bunch of halves, but then my dad's like, let's do a full. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And so that one I really had to train for. I could do a half, I didn't have to train, but a full was like, I better run every day, you know? And I did that and I didn't enjoy the actual marathon. I hated it actually because my knees started to hurt and it was a lot. And when it was over, I was so glad it was over. Because all I was waiting for was that finish line. Yeah. And I failed to appreciate like, man, I've not trained for anything since I was like in high school sports to the level that I trained for this. Right. And I should have appreciated the dedication I gave myself and my willingness to show up for myself through all of that. Yeah. And that should have been what I focused on. But instead, I was focused on those 2 seconds of crossing the finish line. And then that was over. It came and went a second, you know? Yeah. So then all that 6 months of buildup and then it never ends up being what you think it's going to be.
I think a lot of time we look for the finish line, but like you should be happy you woke up today.
Yeah.
You should be happy that you have another day to be able to give to others.
And when you focus on the journey, then you get enjoy every part of it.
Yes.
Don't delay your happiness.
Yes.
You know, I say be careful for I'll be happy when moments. Because if you say to yourself, like, especially I bet in your world, well, I'll be happy when my body fat's this, or I want to be happy when I can see my abs, or I want to be happy when I lose 20 pounds. And it's like, well, your brain doesn't know the difference between what you think and what is real. Yeah. So if you tell your brain, I'll be happy when I lose 20 pounds, then what you're saying is I cannot be happy until then. So the odds of you making it are slim because you've lost 10 pounds and you're like pissed because it's like, I can't be happy yet because I'm trying to lose 20 instead of being like, this is awesome. I'm halfway there and I'm 10 pounds lighter.
Yes.
You know, but we have already told ourselves. So then we react in a way that confirms what we've already said because we as humans want to be right. And so we tell ourselves, oh no, can't be happy yet.
I think a lot of times we fixate on that certain goal. Like, yeah I'm going to lose 20 pounds. But that 20 pounds is not going to make you happy.
No, it won't. And that's the problem is they think it is. Yeah. Then they get there and they're like, wait a minute. I still hate my wife or I still hate my husband. Like I don't like my job. Like I thought I was going to be happy. And then that's deflating because then you put your happiness on something outside of yourself. And then you get there and realize that all the other parts in your life aren't different. And so you feel the exact same way. Yeah. And then it's almost worse because then you're like, well, screw it. I'm just going to be unhealthy because I got healthy and I'm still not happy.
That's when you have to focus on all the other areas of your
life.
Right.
I think that's really awesome that you guys do all of that because it's so true that if only one thing is good, then it doesn't really matter. 100%. You got to have the whole package. So what do you find is the difference between the people who come in your program and aren't successful versus the ones who are? Like what have you seen through all the coaching that you've done that separates the pack?
People that are vulnerable and open and, are accountable. You will have people that join the program. Yeah. And they'll be like, they'll do the workouts, they'll do the nutrition, but then we won't hear from them. We'll contact them and they're just gone. But the people that are actually like calling us, talking to us on their accountability calls, we know exactly about their life.
Yeah. And so what's your program look like? So is it like you sign up for X amount of time?
We have
or
6 months and then we have a year.
Okay.
So there's 3 different tiers. So one, you have the fitness and nutrition. And then the other one, you have the accountability, fitness, and nutrition. And then we have the elite package, which is your year program. That's 2 accountability calls per week, fitness, nutrition. And then
you're giving them, like subscribing them workouts and stuff?
Yes. So then we have our own app.
Okay.
Where you have your workouts. Cool. We can track everything through your Apple Watch. We can track your steps, your calories, your heart rate.
And you guys get like that dashboard.
And we have all that data.
You know if they're doing it or not.
So we know exactly if you're going to be on the elliptical for 45 minutes or not. Or if you just told us you're going to be on the elliptical, but you didn't burn the amount of calories. You haven't lost the weight you were supposed to that week. Like we're not dumb. We've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
You can't fool us.
So what is like the cost of like the 6-month package?
So 6 month is $3,000.
Okay.
And then the 12 month is $10,000.
And was there 3 or was there only 2?
There's 3. And then the first package is $250 per month. $250. And that gives you the access to the app, the fitness, the nutrition, and then you still have accountability, but you're not going to be getting on calls with us. You have our weekly Zoom calls.
Like with the group?
Group call.
Okay.
Exactly.
And what would you say is your best success story of someone in your program?
I would say Eric's brother.
Really?
Was truly just captivating.
And how did he find you?
How did
Eric's brother.
Mark?
Yeah, Mark. How did he find
Eric
you guys?
Reached out to Eddie, and then Eddie reached out to Mark.
Oh, okay.
And then he was he didn't want to do it at first because he didn't know if he believed in himself.
Sure.
And when he said, like, I want to do this, but I want to do it all the way.
So he did the 1 year thing.
And then, he came through the program. And
what's crazy too is like when you start, you think like, oh, a year, like I got to do this for a year. But when the year's over, it's like, that was nothing.
Yes.
A year goes by so fast. And so it's like, don't be afraid to start because once you do, it'll be over before you know it.
You know, the coolest thing about it though, is Eric said, he posted his brother, right, with his transformation. He put it like his shirt, he had a different shirt on. It's like the Subway commercial with the pants.
Yeah, yeah.
He said he had so many people reach out to him and said, I started losing weight and I started focusing on my health because your brother.
That's awesome.
Because he lost that weight, because he felt better. He looked better. He was there for his family. He was there for in all areas of your life. It's it's the confidence that you bring out of yourself.
Absolutely.
It's not about losing weight. It's about changing your generational tree, your family.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and just like you were talking about with your dad struggling with addiction, it's the same thing with our kids. Like if you have fitness, and your kids are more likely to be fit.
Yeah.
And then that means that your grandkids are more likely to be fit.
The kids were asking for Oreos before. Now they want bites of a salad.
Yeah, right.
It's a total switch.
What an amazing thing. That's a really rewarding industry that you're in.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, so then the first question that I have for you is, in the premise of my book, Winning the Moment, I like to ask people, what is the biggest win you've ever had? Yeah. And we talked about how you get to define a win for you. So in whatever way that you decipher a win, what would you say the biggest win of your life is up to this point?
Wow. That's a big question. Probably meeting Eddie. I wouldn't be here without him.
Wow. I hope Eddie's got the headphones on and he heard that.
Yeah, he did. I hope he's listening. A lot of people don't know this. 2 months ago, I tried to take my life.
Oh, wow.
I had pills in front of me.
Wow, just 2 months ago.
Yeah. I had pills in front of me. I was like, I just don't want to be here. I called the VA, and the VA, you go and you admit yourself. And I was underground for 5 days, and it changed my life because I realized how much life I have to live.
Yeah.
And he's one person that no matter what, he'll never let you down.
Wow.
He'll never.
What a great friend to have. What do you think got you to that place?
The fact that I failed myself in the business that I had before, and I was ashamed of the person that I became.
Wow.
Because I just felt like I was this amazing coach, and I did all these great things, and I looked amazing, and then I was nothing. And I felt like everybody was going to see me as nothing.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
But then I realized that I'm something. Like I have a lot to give.
Of course.
Regardless of how I look at my body at that point, I could still get back there.
Yeah.
But I had to tell myself that. I had to believe in myself.
So what was your takeaway now that you had that moment, you got through that? What was the thing that you would share to someone else? If someone else feels that way, what's the message that you'd have for them?
You need to just take the next step. Like you said, those wins.
Yeah.
I was so focused on like where I'm going to be in the next year, not focusing on what am I going to do today.
Sure.
I need to just get out of bed. I need to brush my teeth. I need to take a shower. I need to go for a walk. I don't care if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, get some sunlight, start to eat healthy, start to take those next steps and just win the day. Because if you don't win the day, you're not going to win the week, the month, the year.
Well, and I think it's interesting too, because so when my book was done, we're in the last chapter, I'm working with my ghostwriter, and he's like, all right, how do we wrap it up? And I was like, shit, man. I was like, I really don't know, because the only answer I have kind of sucks. He goes, well, what is it? I said, well, they just have to start. Yeah. And that kind of sucks because they want it to be like this complicated arithmetic that I have solved.
Yes.
So it's like, oh, okay, great. Like Cody solved this very difficult, complex code, and now we can do it because he solved it for us.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to allow yourself to not be who you want to be if there's some very difficult obstacle stopping you. But if the obstacle is only starting, then where do you have to hide?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's really what it comes down to is just start. Yeah. Just like you said. It might just be as simple as making your bed, taking a shower, brush your teeth, going for a walk.
Yeah.
Like everyone's start's going to look different,
right?
But the most important thing is that you just do start. And I think what's commendable for you is that being the space that you're in, there's probably a lot of pressure to be quote unquote perfect. Right? Yes. Because you're selling like, I have figured it out. Look at me, and you can look like this and be like me if you do this. Yeah. And so to be vulnerable and to share those struggles, in a way, I think it almost actually works in your favor because then it's more believable. Like, okay, good. You know, Clint's human.
Yes.
Like he struggles too, because they know in that year journey that they're on, there's going to be times that they probably hate it. Yeah. But they know they can get through it because it's not like you're this perfect specimen and you're this 1% that you're just built different.
Right.
You're a human just like the rest of us, you know?
That was probably the scariest thing too, like sharing that story.
Oh, I'd imagine, because that's like, it could be detrimental to your business.
Yeah.
Right? But, to allow people to understand, like, I don't have it all figured out because no one does.
Yeah. But what I found out was more people started to come.
I believe it.
When you share that story, you know, you're human.
Yeah.
You know, you go through things. These same people are going through the same thing, but you already battled it. You came through it.
Yeah.
Now you can help those people.
Absolutely. That's great. What an interesting answer, because we asked what the biggest win was. And now I'm going to ask you, what was your biggest loss? And I don't know if it's going to be similar to that or not, but what would you say your biggest loss is up to this point in your life?
Definitely my dad. My dad passed away 7.5 years ago.
Okay.
He was my rock. You
know, really close.
He was the person I could call, I could talk to, my problems, whatever it might be. Like, he never judged me. The thing I had to realize, like, he's still here with me right now.
Sure.
You know, he's still looking at me. He's proud of me,
regardless
of the setbacks that I have. You know, something I always told myself was, every time you take a step back or a setback, don't take a step back. Get ready for the comeback.
Sure.
Because you're always going to get to that next step.
Yeah.
But he, I don't know, something about a fatherly figure.
Yeah.
That always, you feel like he's there with you.
Yeah, of course. I don't know. My dad's still alive, and I haven't had any like really close people to me that have passed away. I mean, my grandparents and stuff, but it was like in my mind, it was their time. And so, and I wasn't close to them anymore at that point in my life. So I don't really know the struggle of that loss, but I couldn't imagine what it'd be like to go through that. And I think it's great that you can understand he's still here with you. And so you said that was 7 years ago. Was that the time that you stopped talking to your mom, or what was?
No, that was actually about it. When I lost the business. That was the same time. That's when I went to the program. That's what I was just trying to get my life back together.
Yeah. Okay.
That's when the business partner went. That's when I stopped talking to my mom. And during this trip, like I talked to my mom. I apologized.
I was just going to ask, had you talked to her?
Yeah, I talked to her. She's like, Clint, I'll always love you. Understand that you were going through something.
Yeah, that had to be hard for her because she lost 2 men in her life then, right? Because she lost your dad and then also lost you.
Yeah.
Can you share why you didn't talk to her?
It was politics.
Oh, no shit.
I was so into my business at that time.
Yeah.
Like I was just growing. And I would call my mom and say, I love you. I just want to talk to you. She's like, Clint, did you know that there's these new health beds that they're coming out with? And like they're making, like storms with these, like just all these different things.
Yeah. Like some conspiracy stuff.
Yeah. And then I was like, Mom, I can't listen to this stuff. I'm sorry. I can't be a part of this. And then it came to a point where I just didn't talk to her for a long time.
So it's not even like you ever planned on not. It just kind of organically happened because you just stopped and then it just never started.
And then I look back, I said, Mom, I'm so sorry. Like you're my mom. Like I need you in my life. Like, and she said, don't worry, son. I understand. You just needed to figure some things out.
Is your mom in Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I'm going to see her. Yeah.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
I saw a quote the other day that said, just remember it's your parents' first time living too. And I was like, damn, that's good. Because sometimes we think like they're our parents. Yeah. It's like, you guys should know better. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And we failed to realize they're also experiencing life for the first time.
Exactly.
Right? So they're just trying to figure it out the same way that we are. But because they're our parents, we think like that they should know it. Right. But they're just on their own journey just like us. Okay, so then have you had a mentor that helped you? Obviously you talked about Apex, but was there one particular mentor that you had that really like made a difference in your life?
One person was Sam Cajas, which was my other business partner in Limitless Coaching. And he just taught me to just, no matter what, just keep going. Like every day you're going to fail, but you need to execute and you'll fail and then you're going to succeed. Because he's ran multiple businesses. He's done a lot of things. He's in Australia. He runs a massive marketing company now. And for me, it's like, I didn't believe in myself at that time. Yeah. Limitless stood for infinite possibilities come to those who believe. And I had somebody believe in me when I didn't have that belief in myself. So I wanted to show people the same thing. Yeah. With the coaching.
That's great.
So
having a mentor is so important, because like you said, he's already done it.
Yes.
And so they help you when you get to those roadblocks or you get stuck. And so I always say, like, to the listeners, if you don't have one, find one, right? Like if there's something you want to do, just find someone who's done that thing. Yes. Just like you wanted to meet Steve, right? Yes. Find that person who already had success and just pick their brain. Or if you can't physically find an individual in real life, find a person who wrote a book about the thing, right? Because it's the same thing. Reading someone's biography is the same as sitting down and having a 4-hour conversation with them. So it's like dive into that and take all of their words of wisdom. So the next question is, I usually will ask about winning the moment, but I just gave you the book, so you haven't had a chance to read it. But what is your favorite book and why, and like, what's your biggest takeaway from it?
I'm reading right now, The Leadership 2.0 by John C. Maxwell.
Okay. John C. Maxwell's awesome.
Oh, he's incredible.
Such a good writer.
And it's just something about how he talks about leadership and how you're supposed to be the person in somebody's life that not only, I guess you can say, leads from the front, but you have to understand people at the same time. Yeah. Right. So you have to be able to read the room. And Ed Mylett says that. Yeah. Amazing too. Because he can walk into a room, he can read the room, he knows exactly what's going on. Yeah. Have you seen his speeches before?
Oh yeah, Ed's awesome. Yeah, he's great.
So that's one book that's truly amazing. And then also the book that was sitting
The Alchemist.
Yes.
Yeah. The Alchemist is a great book.
Whew.
That's my favorite book of all time. That's what got me. In fact, I even remember I was going to the Dominican Republic, and it was one of the books I bought for vacation. And I bought it because Will Smith had said, like in a YouTube video, he talked about it. And I thought, I like what Will Smith says. I'm going to go read that book. And I finished it on the flight, like that day. And I'm not a fast reader. Wow. And ever since then, it was like, it completely changed my mindset. It's definitely one of the foundational books in my life. And really, there's a lot of that intertwined in my book because
I can't wait to read it.
Such a big believer in it.
It's incredible.
Okay, so then I'm really curious, being in fitness, what is your routine like? What's your normal routine in a day?
So for us on the road right now, so you talked about mindset, right?
Yeah.
So we always have to focus on everything we do in the morning. So this morning we got up at 5 a.m. We made sure that, I drank 8 ounces of water, 8 to 16 ounces of water.
Okay.
Hydrate the body. I started to journal.
I saw that because I saw you at the sunrise this morning, and then you had like your leadership book. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, that's
in your
it.
Picture.
That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, so I journal in the morning, and then I read, make sure get the mind right.
Yeah.
And then after this, we'll go do the podcast, and then we'll go work out. And then from there, it's just making sure that we get our workout in, make sure we get our cardio in, make sure we get our mental in.
Are those two different things for you guys? Is like your workout, weightlifting, and then cardio is its own thing?
Yes. If we have cardio that day. Yeah. I'm following his prep. So whatever he's doing for his prep.
Where's his competition at?
It's in Houston.
Houston, okay.
Yeah. So it's just crazy that I competed in the same competition 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And he's stepping on stage now. He was facing the dark times.
Yeah.
And I was now getting out of the dark times.
Interesting.
So it's just the roles reversed.
Yeah.
So it's incredible to see. He's going to step on stage and win 100%.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When is that?
October 20th.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. I'm excited for him. I want to see how he does.
Oh, he's going to kill it.
Okay. So then you focus on your morning. So your morning, you get all those things that are important to you done. So that way you can have a successful day. Is there anything else once that part's done, or then do you just let the day happen as it does?
And then honestly, the day will happen. We have everything scheduled out. And then before we go to bed, one of the biggest things, I forgot prayer. Prayer is one of the biggest
morning
things. Yes. We have a leadership book that has verses and Psalms that we read every single day.
So was religion always a part of your life, or was that like a newfound thing for you?
21 days ago, it was
21 days ago.
It was out of my life because we're on day 20. Actually, we're on day 22 right now.
And you just started that on this journey.
I was, before the Navy, I went to Bible study. I was church. I was a Christian. I just lost it. When I went to business, I stopped worrying about God and I stopped worrying about faith completely because I thought, everything was just great.
Yeah.
But then I had to realize, like, you don't have God in your life. You don't have anything. I had to know He was in my life, but I wasn't
you weren't aware.
Him.
Yeah, you weren't
I wasn't
conscious
aware
of
of
Him.
Him.
Yeah. Wow. So it's only been just 3 weeks for you.
Oh, and things have changed so much. Like,
when you're in a spiritual place too. I mean, Southern Utah and Zion, there's a lot of energy, and it's a pretty magical place.
Yes. It's been truly incredible. So
wow.
That's something massive.
Okay. So that's so interesting because I've got my 10 bracelets, right? Mm-hmm. Winning the day. 5 are in the morning, always. Okay. So it's like my first 5 wins are before I even go to work, which is awesome because then that propels me with momentum going into my day. Right. And usually the last 4 are about at nighttime. Because it's really, I found it's the bookends of my day that determine if I'm successful. Mm-hmm. It's really a lot less important in the middle of the day. Plus, I generally make good decisions in the middle of the day. Yeah. I make a bad decision about 9 o'clock. That's when my willpower's gone, and it's like, But if I can, I'll usually have about 3 or 4 left at 9 o'clock. Mm-hmm. Then it's like, okay, well, I could then just go read 10 pages or whatever, a chapter, whatever you're doing. I could meditate, I could journal, and I can be in bed by 10 and boom. Now I've won the day. Yes. And then by doing that, it allows me to then again win the morning. Because if I don't do that and I instead have a whiskey, then I'm going to stay up for like 2 or 3 more hours because I'm having fun, watching Netflix. And then that makes it impossible for me to win that next morning because I'm not going to want to get up because I've already like predetermined the night before, like I don't really care.
Exactly.
I already failed to show up for myself.
Another thing people do is they just scroll on their phones all night long. Before they go to bed.
Right.
It's the worst thing you can
do. I try to not have my phone on before. That's why I try and read at nighttime too. Because then it's like, then I don't have that light in my face.
Because you want to shut down your mind too.
Yeah.
Like, there's no reason. Obviously, you shouldn't eat before you go to bed either.
Yeah. That's the other problem if I drink.
Yes.
Then I have to eat.
Yeah.
Then I'm always eating at
it's going to be junk food. It's not going to be good food.
Oh, never. Well, luckily my wife doesn't buy snacks, but I'll still mess it up. I'll find a way.
Oh man,
I don't have the willpower for it. So it's like if there was a bag of cookies in the house, like
Are you on your health journey now too? Or like, are you?
I mean, I am doing the best that I can, but a lot of it is just creating a way for me to be successful by not having that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I just try and eat the best that I can. I really am interested in the carnivore diet. I was actually going to ask about nutrition. I'm glad you asked that question because I'm curious what you guys believe. Because I think there's so many different ways to be healthy.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like there's vegan people who are really healthy. I know carnivore people who are unbelievably healthy. And then I know people who just make the best decisions they can who are really healthy. So I'm curious, like, what do you believe the optimal nutrition plan is?
So during our discovery call, we'll find out everything about what they've been doing currently.
Okay.
And then what the goals are and where they're going to be, moving forward.
Sure.
So everybody has something different. So if you want to do the carnivore diet, that's perfectly fine. You want to do a vegan diet.
So you think it's okay?
As long as you are getting the right amount of calories in, the right amount of macros, and it's fit for your body. Not everybody can have 500 grams of carbs. Eddie can eat 500 grams of carbs right now because he's 6% body fat. Yeah. I wouldn't be able to do that because then I would just blow up. Yeah. So everybody's body is different. Sure. You want to lose weight? Do you want to gain muscle? Do you want to be athletic? Are you training for a marathon? What does that look like for you?
That's awesome. So you really customize it to the individual.
100%.
That's great. I love that. Yeah. So I want to try the carnivore diet. I'm really excited about it. Okay. So then this is the most important question of the day. Okay. But how do you define success?
Wow. Honestly, I think it comes to a point where we just want to impact as many people as we can.
So the impact that you make on other people.
The goal is 500,000 people by the time we die. And then
that's your goal.
If we get to that point,
to impact 500,000 people,
and then we do 2 million.
What's so interesting too is if you do impact 500,000 people, then that definitively each one of those people is going to impact at least one person, probably 7. Yes. Right. So then it's like that multiple adds up pretty quick. So you could be a hell of a lot closer than you think when you factor in the multiple, just like Eric said with his brother Mark, how many people Mark's journey impacted. Right. That was really through your guys' efforts, Now you're not ever going to get to realize that or even necessarily know it happened, but definitively that success message is being passed out to other people.
Exactly. And that's cool. And that's truly what we want to do. When you change other people.
It's really fun to get everyone's different definition of success because they're so wildly different, which is funny because I talk in college classrooms, and if you go into the college classroom, usually at that time, it is exactly what you'd expect it to be. Well, I want to be rich or something like that, and something internal. Yeah. But so many people have shared this message of answering my question for me has been about like what they do for other people. Yes. Like one was the legacy he leaves. Yes. One was making other people proud of you. Yours is the impact. And so it's really interesting as you progress and you see like how much more you're capable of when you've got the luxury of having introspection in your life.
I think it's because I was at a point where I was making $100,000 a month. Everything was great, but that money meant nothing to me.
Wow.
Because I was still impacting people, but I wasn't where I wanted to be in my life.
Yeah.
So as we give, we receive.
Well, and I think money is it can be kind of like weight loss.
Yep.
Where someone's like, oh, I want to be fit, I want to look like Clint, or I want to have money like Clint, but they don't know what it takes to have either of those things.
Right.
And if they did, they may not want it. Yeah. And also, just like you might lose 20 pounds and think you're going to be happy, you may make the money you wanted to make and still not be happy, and it's the exact same impact. Right? Because if you put all of your happiness on like, well, if I can make X amount of dollars per year, and then you get there and you look around and you're still not happy, then it's like, oh shit, what do I do now? At some point you're going to have to figure out what you really want and work on you. And that's why in the book, it talks about I'll share the story of, I was in a college classroom and a kid raises his hand. He goes, how do you become successful? And I said, well, that's an irrelevant question for me to answer because how I define success and how you define success could be completely different. Right. So what do you want for yourself? And then let's talk about how we can get there. Yes. Because that's really what success is. Getting the place that you want to get to because you want to get there. Yeah. Not because your parents want you to or your girlfriend's parents want you to, like because you want to do it. And if you're doing the thing you want to do, then I think that's what being successful is.
I'm sure that's like one of the first questions you have with people.
Yeah.
Is like, what does success look like to you?
Well, because it doesn't matter otherwise. Yeah. What are we even talking about?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's really, and really you can also replace success with almost like the word happiness, like, or fulfillment. What's going to make you feel fulfilled every day? It's a heck of a lot easier to wake up every day when you're doing something you want to do.
Yes.
And life's too short to wake up and do something you don't want to do.
There's so many people that are doing that right now.
Most of the world does that.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't have to. Yeah. And it goes back to just starting. which sucks because that's not the advice they want to hear. You know? Okay. So anything that you want to leave the audience with, or any message that you have for them, or the best ways for them to connect with you?
One thing is, like, anything you go through in life, understand that it happens for you, not to you. Right?
Absolutely.
Everyone has their seasons. This is your winning season. You're going to get through this. And if you have a story to tell it, because somebody needs to hear it.
Absolutely.
I was scared to tell my story. I was scared to be like I was, where I was, and then I went back down, but you can always come back up.
Yeah.
So tell your story.
Absolutely.
And then you can find me on Instagram, Clint _Riggin. And then you can find Eddie at Eddie Gomez 10.
Okay. So what I'll do is I'll put both of your guys' Instagram handles in the show notes, and then I'll also put relentless.coach.
Perfect.
That's the website to go sign up for your guys' program.
Yes,
right? Okay. Well, hey, Clint, thank you so much for being here. It was a blast, man.
Cody,
What a great experience.
Oh, incredible.